What's up everybody and welcome to the world of UniVersus. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play the UniVersus card game. UniVersus is a fighting card game where your favorite characters from different iconic properties battle it out to see who's the best of the best. So let's jump in. The main way to win a game of UniVersus is by reducing your rival's health to 0. Use the abilities on your character, attacks, and other cards in your deck to achieve this goal. Each character has their own health that can be different than your rivals, making each time that you play more unique and interesting than the last. Now that you know how to win, let's take a closer look at the cards you'll be playing with. There are a few different card types in UniVersus, and they all have the same general information on them. Here are the stats that appear on every UniVersus card. In the top left corner is the card's difficulty. This is how difficult the card is to play. The bottom right is the check value. This is the value of the card when making a check to play another card. In the top right is the card's block. This shows the value and the zone of the block. Blocks prevent your rival's attacks from dealing damage. Here is the text box. This is where any special abilities or keywords will be located. Lastly, the name of the card will be located here. Now, let's take a look at the unique aspects and jobs each card type has. This is a character card, the main focus of your deck. Each character has a printed hand size that determines the amount of cards you'll draw at the start of every turn. The higher the hand size, the lower your starting health, and vice versa. Next, we have attacks. This is the way you reduce your rival's health to 0. Each attack has a damage and speed value, along with an attack zone. Foundation cards are the last card type we'll talk about in depth in this video. They are quite literally the core of your deck. Their purpose is to play cards in your hand, as well as influence the course of the game with their own abilities while in the stage. The last two card types are actions and assets. Assets are much like foundations, being built in the stage in order to use their abilities, but can't be used to help play cards. And actions are cards that don't stay in your stage at all, but are played from your hand as a one-time use ability. Now that we know the names of all the different card types, let's learn how to play a card. The two numbers we focus on when playing your cards are the difficulty and the check value. Every time that you play a card, you make a check or discard the top card of your deck into your discard pile and compare the difficulty of the card played to the check value of the card just discarded. If the check value is equal to or greater than the card's difficulty, then you have passed the check and the card is successfully played. If the check value was less than the difficulty needed, you may want to commit the difference in foundations, or the card fails and goes to your discard pile. In order to commit a foundation, all you need to do is turn it sideways. Anytime you fail to play a card as a form, not as a block, response, or enhance, your turn is forced to end. The last thing of note for playing cards is the game mechanic progressive difficulty. For every card in your card pool, when you attempt to play a card, the difficulty goes up by 1. For example, if you attempt to play a 5 difficulty attack with 2 cards already in your card pool, the difficulty of the card is a 7. Thus, the check value needed is also a 7. As said before, the main way to win the game is through attacking. The two main stats needed for this are on the right middle of your attack cards. The top number is the speed of the attack, as well as the attack's zone. The lower number is the damage of the attack. As you play an attack, you enter the enhance step. Starting with a turn player, you and your rival go back and forth playing enhances on the played attack, as well as cards in your respective stages. This can include your character, foundations, and assets you have in play, but not on the cards in your hand. Also, make sure you follow all costs on your cards, like commit or turning it sideways, flip, turning the card face down, destroying, placing the card in your discard pile, or removing that card from the game. After both you and your rival have consecutively passed on playing an enhance, the attack will go to the block step. In the top right corner of every card, there's a shield. This represents the card's block stat. There are 3 attack zones in the UniVersus card game: high, mid, and low, and the shields in the corner have the same zones to match. After you and your rival have spent the enhance step modifying the attack played, the defending player now gets 1 chance to block with a card from their hand. If the zone of the attack and the zone of the block match, then the attack is fully blocked, and no damage to the defending player's health will happen. If the zones are adjacent, then the attack is partially blocked, and the defending player will take half of the damage of the attack rounded up. If the zones do not match and are not adjacent, a block may not be attempted. In order to play our block, a bit of math is needed to see if the card passes. The block math is simply the speed of the attack, plus the block modifier in the shield of the defending card, plus the progressive difficulty of the blocking player. When you start the game, randomly decide who will go first. After you've decided who will go first, that player will start with their character committed, then both players draw up to their hand size. As you play, you'll learn one of the most important parts of UniVersus is a strong foundation build on turn 1. If your hand doesn't have enough foundations, each player is allowed one mulligan. The player going first decides if they wish to keep their starting hand or mulligan it away, placing all cards on the bottom of their deck, drawing a fresh hand, then shuffling their deck. The second player then does the same, except they may choose the cards they want to go on the bottom of the deck, rather than their whole hand. The turn sequence goes as such: start phase, combat phase, and end phase. In the start phase, in this order, you ready all the cards in your stage. Review a card from your hand if you wish by discarding it, and then drawing up to your hand size. The combat phase is the main phase the game is played in. Here is where we get to play all of your cards. We call them forms. You can play your cards in any order you wish. Meaning, if you want to play attacks, then foundations, you can. Then again, if you want to play foundations, then attacks, or mix the types of cards played, you're allowed to. As long as you can pass the check for each card's progressive difficulty, you can play your turns however you want. When you're done playing cards, or you fail a check to play a form, we go to the end phase. Attacks that dealt damage will go face down under your character as a resource called momentum, if you so choose. Foundations will be built down into your stage to be useful on later attacks, and any cards used as a block will be cleared from your card pool to the discard pile. The UniVersus card game does not have to be a standalone game. In this How to Play, we use Critical Role as the example, but UniVersus has so much more to offer. With characters from My Hero Academia, Cowboy Bebop, and Godzilla to name a few, the ways to explore and play this amazing game are all but endless. If you have any questions about anything in the video, please leave a comment below and I'd love to help. Or come join the discussion on your favorite characters by joining my Discord, with a link found in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I wish you well.